Now starting, all attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're joining from. We will get started here in about another minute. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get kicked off here. Logistic-wise, there is on the right-hand side of the screen, you should see a hand symbol, and that is if you want to, of course, throw your hands in the air and wave them as if you don't care. No, that is if you would like to ask a question. We're going to try to keep most of the questions at the end today, but there will be kind of a participation grade, ding, ding, ding. And just want to make sure that everybody understands that feature. So if you can, go ahead and raise your hands if this is your first PTA Global webinar. As everyone gets comfortable, there we go. There's some hands. Terry Stone is throwing hands in the air, waving them like doesn't care. Jacob McCleary, great to have you on, buddy. More hands, love to see it, love to see it. So many of you are getting comfortable with this functionality, so we love that. And so again, there's going to be a few polls that we send out, some handouts that are going to be attached to this, and so I want to get you comfortable with the participation grade, so to speak. But let's go ahead and jump right in it. Karen, are you on with us today? Can we hear you?
I am. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good
Welcome
morning
aboard.
and afternoon to you as well, Karen. Karen is going to be my my partner in crime for today's webinar, but let's just jump right in. We've got quite a few people on the call, really exciting stuff to cover, and we want to make sure that we honor our time in this content. So show of hands, how many of you are multitasking right now? Because there's always like three types of webinar attendees, right? You got the lunch and learn, right? So it's like, man, I'm gonna knock out this webinar, but I'm definitely gonna knock out this Chipotle as well. So how many of you, show of hands, are in the lunch and learn category? Love it, love it. I would expect nothing less. How many of you are the student learner, the student learner? The ones of you that have pen, paper, pad, earphones on, and literally door shut, and you're like, do not interrupt me. Show of hands. You guys are so serious. You're so laser focused. I love it. I hope I don't let you down. I won't. I promise this will be a lot of value for you. I love this topic. And then there's a third category where you guys are just multitasking, right? You're literally going to probably take in 2 minutes, go ahead and take a guest in your club and then come back like it's a triathlon. Go ahead and refuel, get you some webinar goodness, and then go back out and sell some subs. Show of hands, how many of those are you, the multitasker on the phone? Don't be shy. There's a few that didn't raise your hand that literally you're multitasking right now. You're going out and helping a member. I love it. So we're going to have some fun today. Again, our topic is very specific to 3 keys of client and trainer retention. This is absolutely an ache and pain for many of you on the call today. Again, we definitely want to kick off and figure out who all is on the call, and we're going to do that. But it is the seasonality. It's March, April, May. There's a spike. And we know that in trainer attrition and client attrition. We'll talk a little bit about the reasons why and how to solve that. But before I go any further, I just want to do a quick little intro. My name is Israel Allen. I'm the Director of Education with PTA Global. I'll kind of be your guide by the side today as we go through this quick webinar and hopefully being able to provide some really good content for you, but also some solutions that you can literally take from this call and immediately go and apply to remedy some of the challenges that retention can bring in the business. So with that, I want to kick it over to the lovely Karen Perlmutter.
Thank you, Israel. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on our webinar. Israel and I are really excited to take you on a virtual tour. My name is Karen Perlmutter. I am the Vice President of Licensing and Sales, working with all 3 of our brands, being PT on the Net, .fit, PTA Global, and the Performance Suite, which incorporates all brands into one platform. So if you're a health club owner operator on the call, you will want to pay close attention towards the end of our webinar, where I'm going to explain what's inside the Performance Suite. If you're a trainer, you're going to want to know about PT on the Net, which is the world's largest exercise library and resource center. And lastly, .fit being a nutrition and exercise program that will allow you to help monitor your client's diet and exercise and help them reach their fitness and health goals. So with that being said, Israel, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Karen. And I love that we've got the 3 brands under one umbrella, right? So we've got PTA Global, which really specializes in education, developing, just rock star trainers, and then really bringing on trainers the right way so that they kind of outlast and outlive the other 80% of trainers. And we'll talk about that stat that typically don't make it. So we've got that vehicle under the umbrella. Then we've got PT on the Net that absolutely has the largest, library. I remember experiencing it 20 years ago as a personal trainer. Just an amazing resource. And then of course, .fit, that just amazing product, amazing supplementation to help our clients get results. And I love that we have those kind of sister companies that we have that partnership. And then Karen, thank you so much for kind of being the relationship guru that helps tie us all together and helps put on webinars like this to better serve our partners out there. So with that, let's go ahead and kick it off. I know you're probably antsy and ready to rock and roll, so let's get to it. So Karen touched a little bit on Performance Suite. We're going to talk about that a little bit more at the end to today if you have any specific questions, and we'll be able to create some space of time at the end for any of those questions that you might have, okay? So again, at the end of today, we're not only going to be able to open the floor for some questions, because that is really kind of the meat and the bones, so to speak. Kind of the meat and potatoes of the call is when you can say, hey, I've got this problem. How would you remedy that? And we can just have some, some quick actionable things. And then we're also going to be giving away some education. Again, there is a participation grade with this, so we always love to give away some education and upskill, the professionals out there. And so we're going to be able to do that as well. So really, really excited. All right, so let's just touch on this real quick. So dictated by the industry, essentially, this is why PTA Global started, is we're listening to owners and operators and trainers. So let's go ahead and pause there. What I want to do is just take a quick poll so we know who all is on the call and what your specific background is. So on your screen, you should see a quick little poll. How many of you on the call are personal trainers versus owners and operators? Okay, so far we've got 60% studio club operators, 32% personal trainers. Polls still coming in. It's exciting. It's like watching American Idol or something, and you're just waiting for the winner. All right, so it looks like the vast majority of people that we have is studio club operators on the call. So that's great just to kind of know who we're talking to and being able to kind of, I would say, identify with your struggles. My background, not only as a personal trainer, but as a gym operator and then multi-unit, I can definitely sympathize with many of you on the call. With Karen has just such a deep background in this industry. So we know a lot of those aches and pains. So as you look up at your screen, and you look at, okay, owners and operators' biggest pains, absolutely, right? Like, how do I get my trainers to sell, right? How do I get them to actually not hate sales? How do I get them to maybe feel more comfortable communicating with our members? Because we need more members to experience great personal training sessions, right? These are some of the aches and pains. How do I get my trainers to stay engaged so they actually stay with us so we can actually continue to invest in them, right? These are some common things that I definitely hear when I'm in clubs. And then trainers, we've got 27% of you that are on the call that are personal trainers. And so, for you, again, you've heard this before, right? It's the, hey, what you got coming in, right? It's the feeling like you're pushed to sell as opposed to pushed to provide solutions, right? And so some of that is just, changing the language and how we view sales and really focusing on the right things. And so I want to fast forward a little bit into just some hard stats that are still very relevant today in the industry. And if you are an owner and operator, you can absolutely empathize with this. You're familiar with the term breakage, right? Where 50% of the member base is expected to essentially not even show up after they buy a membership, and that's not what we want, right? We don't want that. We want them engaged with personal training. Otherwise, what ends up happening is the other stat that you'll see here in green is only 7%. And it's actually closer to 3% if you're in kind of the larger box, change, whether it's an LA Fitness or 24-Hour Fitness or Crunch. It's actually close to the 2 to 3% MemPen, member penetration, where they're actually paying for personal training or group training services, up to 7%, and so your Equinoxes of the world are probably rounding that bell curve. But again, 93%, are you kidding me? 93% of the member base is out there not paying for personal training. And we got to believe, like, it's not 93% poor, it's 93% disengaged. So if I'm a trainer on the call, I'm thinking, holy cow, where does my club stack up to this? And there's plenty of pie to go around, right? If I'm an owner and operator, I'm like, man, I see not only 93% of lives that can be touched and impacted, but the referral rate that can come out of that, right? The lifetime value of the customer that can come out of that. And so personal training is a no-brainer for me. I know it's something that is absolutely essential to my business, right? So many of you are probably shaking your head. You're like, yep, I'm totally with you, Israel. Here's the staggering stat. 8 out of 10 personal trainers will leave within their first year. And many of us on the call, we know why that is, right? And trainers can't make the money that they need to, right? Maybe they don't have the skills to be able to know how to build their business, or the skills to keep people motivated and engaged to where they want to continue spending money and investing in their results. So hopefully we'll be able to touch on a few of those aches and pains, and then always as a follow-up, we are here to help you. We're here to serve you in anything that you need. So let's jump right in it. What makes PTA Global unique? So several of you may or may not be PTA Global certified, and so I want to get kind of a sense of how many of you are or not PTA Global certified. So I'm going to go ahead and send you a quick little poll. Drum roll, please. All right. So we've got about a little over, 20 some odd percent that are PTA Global certified. Some of you may be in the process of becoming PTA Global certified. Some of you may have our credentials, like our behavior change and exercise, our foundations, our exercise and stress management, our mindset performance, but may not have, taken our NCCA accredited cert. But that just lets me know, okay, what am I, who is my audience, and what kind of verbiage do I need to use that may or may not be familiar. And so just a quick look, since 80% of you are not PTA Global certified, we'll speak to that 80% real quick. Very quickly, what essentially makes us different is we've got 25 collaborators, over a decade ago that knew the aches and pains of the industry, that came together, some of the most brilliant minds in the industry, and said, we've got to put together this cert that helps trainers become successful faster. Bottom line, it teaches trainers about the business behind personal training. Behind personal training, it helps them understand the service behind the sale, right, and the science behind movement. So all of those things together, and really candidly, it helps them build a book of business. And it's one of the few personal training certifications out there, as you know, that really does that. And so, and again, that's kind of our thing, is really the business side and the motivation side of training the human being. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're in. We're in the human being business, the relationship business, right? So we've got to know that, got to have those skill sets. So I love this quote. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize my screen here so you can see it. So you don't build a business, you build people, and then people build the business, right? So many of you on the call have probably seen or heard this quote, but it's no more true than what we're talking about on this call. Is an investment in our people is absolutely going to mirror the investment that they make in their clients, right? And so, just kind of thoughts and considerations around that. A lot of the things that we're going to talk about on retention, it really has to do with how we invest our time, how we invest our resources, and then being able to see that we get a good ROI on that. All right, so kind of our three key things here. We want to not only find the right personal trainers that are business minded, that are passionate, that really live the values, but have those skill sets along the way. We want to be able to drive performance. At the end of the day, we want profitable and productive personal trainers. And PTA Global really specializes in helping to equip those skill sets and onboard personal trainers the right way. And then we want to basically create a career path, right? We want to keep personal trainers. We want to really zero in on that 80% stat of how to keep personal trainers. Because gosh, if you're on the call, you understand that, man, if I can keep my trainers happy, I can probably keep my clients happy. And if my clients are happy, they're probably not going anywhere, right? So, man, how do I get to the root, right, so that I can address the fruit, right? So we're going to talk about some of those things today. So PTA Global, again, we really focus on the three key areas of the business, right? How to gain, train, and retain. Starting with our trainers, how to gain, train, and retain, and then moving into how to gain, train, and retain clients. We know that if we do that well, the flywheel is going to breed into referrals, and that's going to help drive that EFT. That's going to help drive that dues tap, and the rest is history, right? If we do it right. But it's the input, it's the things that we do consistently and brilliantly well that will allow us to have the output, right? And many of you on the call know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? All right. So here we go. Our three keys to client and trainer retention. So our first key is coaching, okay? So show of hands, how many of you on the call are in some sort of coaching capacity? Just show of hands. Hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. I love it. Look, everybody's hands are going up. Boom, boom. Terry Stone's got 2 hands up. Jacob's got a foot up. Absolutely. Everybody on the call is in a coaching capacity, right? Whether you're a trainer or an owner and operator, that is what we do, right? And so it's so important. The second key that we're going to talk about is credibility. So are we under promising and over delivering, or are we over promising and under delivering, right? And so how do we change the game in making sure that we're constantly delivering what we promise? And then last is our confidence. We know that confidence is absolutely critical in any kind of sales or influence role, and whether you're in a leadership role or you're in a personal training leadership role. Again, if you're leading other people, you are a leader, and your confidence is absolutely, essential, to your ability to succeed in that role. And you know that. Okay. So here's this guy. I love this little this little coaching icon, guys. So if you haven't had a chance, if you make a note on our YouTube channel right now, every month we do a segment on how to gain, train, and retain clients, and it's called Coach's Corner. We started that back in January. So if you get a chance to, knock out one of those during lunch or whatever, but again, that's part of our commitment to investing regularly in coaching. Whether it's coaching our certified trainers, coaching our trainers that aren't quite certified yet, or just, coaching for some of our partners, some of our preferred partners. So Coach's Corner every single month, a new episode will be coming out this month. But when we think about coaching, okay, we start with onboarding, right? How we set the expectation for our team is really, really important. And we do that through, kind of mapping out a guideline of here's exactly what you're going to experience kind of within the next 90 days. Right? So it's not just sink or swim, that they can actually get their footing underneath them. And then there's very specific things that they're going to learn. It's not just trial by fire, and so, again, if you know our content, whether it's our behavior change, whether it's our foundations, we utilize a lot of those for onboarding purposes so that it's structured, it's consistent, and the education that they're going to learn is very, very focused on customer-centric communication skills, high level communication skills that, the top 10% trainers, inherently just have. They either were God-given talent or they inherited them over a lot of trial and error and rejection. But just being able to embrace those skill sets so that everybody is speaking the same language. Onboarding is actually our first kind of 1A of coaching here. The second is proper training. So we've got to make sure that not only are we training on the right things, but the things that are essential to the skill set of the profession, right? Most trainers come in with a basic understanding of how to exercise and how to work somebody out, but most do not come from a background of sales. Okay, so how many trainers on the call right now, show of hands, had a sales background before you came into the industry? There's not a lot of hands going up. Maybe a handful, and most of y'all are probably leaders in the industry, right? You're probably in a club manager role right now, or a fitness manager or director role, right? So training on the skill sets of sales and also retention, those are what a lot of, I'll just tell you, certifications, because I've experienced a lot of them, they just don't teach enough of. And so you come out with this certification that, now you actually have to put it into practice, and man, you know how to exercise people, but you don't know how to get people in front of you. And then once you're in front of you, you don't know the things to keep them motivated, right? So we've got to make sure that there's proper training around those things. The last piece around coaching is feedback. We constantly are looking at getting feedback, whether you're a leader on the call or whether you're a trainer on the call. You want this feedback because this is basically your answers to the test, okay? So I'll tell you just very quickly, Patrick Lencioni came out with a book, The Truth About Employee Engagement, and he really narrowed it down to, with a lot of research, a lot of studies that his company did, 3 basic things why employees leave, right? So whether we're talking about trainers or whether we're talking about Group X or whether we're talking about front desk, for owners and operators, these 3 things, people need to inherently, feel these 3 things. So the one is irrelevance, right? They just feel like their position really doesn't matter and like they're not really creating impact. The other here is immeasurement. They're not actually able to measure the work that they're doing, the quality of work. So then they lose engagement. It's like as if you're playing a pickup basketball game and then you just stop taking score, right? Watch the level of interaction and motivation go down, and then people are like making up scores, right? Then it's like, I don't even want to play anymore, dude, right? And that is how the game of the career for many of our employees, it ends up being. So we've got to find a way to visibly keep our employees' engagement, whether you got a war board, whatever you do, and then tying that back into what's important to them and how their job impacts that. The last is anonymity. And that really goes back to, does my leader care about me? Do they show a vested interest in me? Do they make constant deposits? And are they making more deposits in investing in me, pouring into me, or is it just withdrawals? What you got coming in? How come you're not doing this? How come you're not doing that? So from a relational equity perspective, we always have to analyze, are we making more deposits or are we making more withdrawals? And so again, irrelevance, immeasurement, and anonymity, if we can solve for those 3 things, we absolutely can help with trainer retention, which we know will have an impact on client retention. The other practical tool that I'm going to share with you right now, actually, you should have it as an attachment, but I'm going to go ahead and pop it up here if you don't. So in your tools, kind of on the screen, you should be able to see this, and then you should actually be able to download this so that you could literally share it with your team today. But basically, this tool, our Kaizen 6, is one of the most powerful tools that I found to be able to really foster a safe place for feedback. It should come up any second here. It's running a little slow because we got a lot of people on the call, which is totally cool. All right. So if we look at our Kaizen 6 tool, okay, and we go through this, I'll show a couple slides here that'll help. Okay, so the first thing you're going to see is this asks very specific questions. They're not open-ended, arbitrary questions like, how am I doing, right? It's what aspect of your training with me have you enjoyed the most, right? What was different about this workout than maybe others that you've done in the past? Third question, is there anything in particular maybe you were hoping for that you wanted me to do that I have not done for you yet, right? Leaving nothing on the table, leaving no stone left unturned. We want that feedback. Fourth question, what can I do to make your experience even better? Ding, ding, ding. They're going to give you the answers to the test to say, hey, here's how you get a 10 out of 10 out of me, buddy, right? And we know that that's going to lead into re-signs and closing percent and all the things that come with that, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being poor, 10 being fantastic, where are you in terms of satisfaction with me and my training services? And again, we're not looking for a, hey, yeah, you did great. I'm going to tell you you're a 10 because I don't really want to tell you what's going on. We're looking for a, hey, you know what? I know there's things that I can improve upon. I'm going to use this as an opportunity, Mrs. Jones, to get the most feedback that I can to make our sessions better as we continue. But also this feedback will be used for other people that could benefit. Would you mind just sharing some open and candid feedback with me, scale of 1 to 10 on satisfaction? Okay, so it's all how you frame it up. And then lastly, what goal or desired outcome is most important for you to achieve in the next 30 days? That's a great way of saying, hey, as we're going to, it's kind of an assumptive close, right? As we're going to continue together, right? What are the things that you expect from me and how can we achieve those together in the next 30 days? So I'm going to give you a couple of plug and plays here. So you can use this during a training session. You can use a couple of these questions, just plopping them in a training session, right? And then jotting down those answers and applying. Again, the key word is applying this feedback. If you don't apply it, you ask the questions, but you actually don't do anything with them. This actually can work as more of a negative than a positive, right? Because someone's giving you their trust, giving you what they want, and then you just didn't do it. It's no bueno. You got to make sure you apply it. You can use this after the training session, right? So after you've done the workout, go through all 6 questions. You can use this for the first 3 to 5 sessions. So maybe you're selling 3 packs, 5 packs, and be able to get an assessment so that you get a higher percent of re-sign and conversion rate because you know exactly what the customer wants and they know you're going to deliver on it, right? And again, no brainer. And then when it's time to renew, so if you're selling 3-month contracts, 6-month contracts, 12-month contracts, being able to forecast and say, hey, I want to be very strategic in how I use these maybe a week or 2 weeks before that re-sign and deliver on those things so that the trust rate is so high, there'd be no reason for that person to go delinquent or cancel. Right? And I know for many of you on the call, I'm speaking your language right now. I know you get this tool, and this is why you're going to download this tool, and you're going to say, hey, every single one of my team, we're going to practice this, and then we're going to use it, right? And then for leadership, when we talk about trainer retention, right, so absolutely critical that we get feedback from our team. So you can basically spin some of the terminology here and spin it as a leadership perspective. So walk with me here. So what aspect of your time here within our team have you enjoyed the most? Ding, ding, ding. Your employee's going to tell you what they like the most about being an employee with you, right? What was different about maybe this job or this experience than maybe other jobs that you've done in the past? Ding, ding, ding. They're going to tell you, here's where you're great, but you know what? I actually liked this or this about my other job. Okay, that's great feedback. Let's see if we can apply that, right? And again, you can have that spin on every single one of these 6 questions as you get feedback from your team to really improve your culture, right? So you're fostering the power of feedback and empowerment with your employees, your team members. But that as a leader, you're actually getting the answers to the test to how you grow as a leader. So again, this is straight gold. I hope you guys are like, you put down your Subway sandwich by now and you're like, okay, how do I download this? Click, click, click. All right, so the next one here that we're going to talk about very briefly is credibility. So again, any of you on the call that are not NCCA, certified, or your trainers on the call are not NCCA certified, this is the gold standard. And again, our clients are very savvy in how they Google us and what certifications mean. And so if you've got a bio board for your trainers and clients are kind of seeking out, okay, what are your trainers all about? I remember multiple times as a GM, and I was trying to sell training, and they would say, hey, do they have an NCCA? And I'm like, oh, how did you know about that? Right? And they had just Googled. It's the power of the internet. So the power of making sure that your trainers have a gold standard, right? Like our PTA Global CPT, having that NCCA is so incredibly important for them. It's like having an MD as a doctor. If you don't, it's kind of like, okay, junior, like Doogie Howser without the MD, like I'll take whoever's better in line, right? But you want your team to be the best of the best. That's why you invest, right? The second is the skill set. So again, really focusing on the skill set that trainers won't organically grow into, which we know is going to be the skill sets around prospecting, around overcoming objections, around motivating a demotivated client. Those are not skill sets that trainers usually just walk in knowing how to do. So I need to find content as an owner and operator that zeroes in on the things that my team is going to struggle with. Because if I don't, then I can't earn the right to hang on to them, guys, right? And we know that. The last is client testimonials. I'm not sure what that hiccup was all about. Getting a little crazy on a Friday, folks. So client testimonials, we know this is the proof in the pudding, right? We can talk all day long about how great we are. Okay, cool. Show me. Show me your before and afters. Show me your client results. So what I'll tell you is one of the coolest tools out there that I absolutely love. I've seen many people understand, adopt, and embrace this is Trainer Metrics. Trainer Metrics is just a really cool way to make results visible for your trainers so that your trainers stay engaged. Remember, they've got to see measurement and how they're impacting client results. It's also a good way for owners and operators really easily to like spot check are trainers actually doing client folders and stuff that they're supposed to do. And this also interacts with the client, so then the client can see their progress. And so it's kind of like the triple win. But again, there's a lot of tools out there. I just found Trainer Metrics is something that's really cool, super beneficial, and have heard from a lot of people that have used this that they're just having a lot of success. So again, if you don't have a tool that kind of tracks visibility and credibility of your results, Trainer Metrics is a pretty good plug and play for you. So our last key here is going to be confidence. Okay, so when we talk about confidence, we know how important confidence is. Look at this baby. Look at this adorable baby who is all over the internet. This guy's probably like 20 by now, semi-retired from royalties of this beautiful little face. But I love this guy because it is, anytime I see it, like you could imagine any quote and it's like victory, right? So the first we know is education. Right? Education builds confidence, confidence sells the product. But education on what? Education on the things that I need to be confident in, right? So if there's things that I'm coming on board not already educated in, not feeling comfortable with, I probably should zero in on those things for my team. Preparation. I think it was Abe Lincoln that said, if you give me 4 hours to cut down a tree, I'm going to spend 3 hours sharpening the axe. So we know how important preparation is, and if we are understanding of, okay, here's the next 90 days, trainer, here's what we're going to develop, here's where we're going to partner together, here's what you're good at, here's where I'm good at, here's where we are going to be committed to your success and the success of your clients. Candidly, that takes preparation. It takes the conversation, it takes follow-up, right? And it takes an investment. You got to invest in your team, you got to invest in focus on the things that matter most. But be prepared for those conversations and be prepared to schedule those practice and follow up and all of those things. The last thing is repetition. Repetition is the mother of success. We know that, the first time you threw a baseball is probably not the same, hopefully not, as when you're throwing a baseball now. And it took a lot of practice. It took a lot of repetition. And unfortunately, the repetition in many cases, whether it be role playing and overcoming objections, it either doesn't happen, it doesn't happen often enough, right? Or it's inconsistently good, right? Like maybe you practice with the general manager and it's awesome, and then you practice with like a trainer buddy and it was like, I really don't use that because this and this. And then so now it loses a lot of credibility, right? So to have a safe space to be able to practice the conversations that trainers should be having with their clients, but probably aren't coming in knowing how to have those conversations. Give me an example, right? Hey, I don't know my schedule for next week, so I can't schedule sessions. Okay, so have we taught trainers how to overcome that objection? Or are we just expecting that, well, they should just know how to do that? We gotta know that again, never assume. How do we coach them? Hey, Mrs. Jones, completely understand. I know how incredibly busy you are, right? What I found is for my most successful people that follow this program, they usually book 30 days out. Here's what I'd like to do for you. I don't want you booking a slot that is not convenient for you. Let's go ahead and find 1 to 2 slots that are going to be pretty good options for you. If anything comes up, you could always reschedule, but at least then I get you into the most important slot for you, and we make your fitness a priority. I've got Tuesday AM or Thursday PM open. Does a Tuesday, Thursday AM or PM work better for you? Okay, does 5 or 7 work better? Fantastic. Let's go ahead and lock in at that time. And then, yeah, if anything comes up, just let me know, but at least we're making your fitness our priority. So little things like that, you're like, well, gosh, I hope my trainers can do that, but I'll tell you, most do not practice these basic skill sets. So we're not really kind of loading their lips. We're not arming them for success, right? Which is why clients don't schedule out, which is why clients don't come in, they don't get consistent results, and they fall off. Ding, 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 client retention. So focusing on lead measures or little skill sets that can help, fast forward client frequency, session service, client results, client referrals, just by practicing a little how to schedule a client, how to overcome the I don't have my schedule in front of me objection. These things, man, I'll tell you, these things, when you do them brilliantly well, they may seem basic, but these are the things that a lot of organizations just are not doing. So what I want to, again, challenge you with is for 80% of the people on the call, again, many of you are not PTA Global certified, but what I want to do is I want to throw out another quick little poll for you, because I want to know, again, some of the other highlights for today. All right, so how many of you either have our BCE or ESM? So you should see this up on your screen, okay? Neither BCE. All right, so I'll tell you real quick, our BCE basically, our behavior change and exercise, it's kind of a stepping stone. So if you have a lot of trainers right now that are, let's say, NASM certified, right? And maybe they don't have this skill set that we're talking about and how to, prospect and how to retain clients because their certification just didn't teach them that. And that's okay, right? I mean, it's not okay, but I'm just saying it is what it is. BCE is going to give them the filler content, all the sales, communication, motivation content that, those other certs might not have. And the other certs are good. They still may be NCCA accredited. But again, we're looking for what things do I need to equip my trainers with that are going to give them the skill sets that most certifications don't have. And BCE is going to be a great choice for that. Our ESM is kind of an advanced. And so like if they've got PTA Global CPT, your ESM is kind of like your next step in line to really get that next level, top tier, upper echelon personal trainer that really understands hormone optimizations and client results. And then for many of you on the call, like this may be your very first orientation, and that's okay too. So for those of you that don't know, we just released brand new content back in January, and now we have a manual that goes along with this. This is one of the feedbacks that we got, that hey, I need a manual so that my trainers can study along with the course. And so we delivered. Hey, the course is too long. I need to onboard trainers faster. Well, we cut the content down by 20% and then chopped it up in small little digestible bites because we wanted to deliver. We heard you and we delivered, right? And so I want to make sure that you knew what tools and resources you had available at your disposal today. And then just a quick little rundown here in some of our credential courses. If you need to acquire CECs for your team because they're up on their cert or maybe they're expired, these can be great to renew their certifications and then also give them some of these additional skill sets that we've talked about. So to recap, we've got the 3 keys to client and trainer retention. So coaching, credibility, and confidence. Okay, so before we transition, I want to do one more quick little poll. Because many of you are owners and operators, so you may be familiar with Performance Suite or PT on the Net, but I just want to find out. So how many of you are using currently either Performance Suite or PT on the Net? Okay, so it's kind of like a 50-50 mix. So 50% are, 50% aren't. Okay, and then just one more quick question, because I know many of you may already be using .fit. So when we talk about retention and results, this is super important. How many of you are using .fit supplements? Just this isn't like a ploy for .fit supplements. I'm just more seeking to understand because it is important in results. So, okay, so quite a few. It looks like about like 3/4 of you are currently using .fit. So fantastic. That's a great way to get those results and give those people the nutritional guidance that they need. So fantastic job there. Cool. So what I want to do now is I want to just kind of highlight very quickly as we segue here into some additional kind of, hey, after this course. So you've talked about some really good things, man. I got it. Coaching, credibility, confidence. But man, candidly, I could use a little guide by the side, man. It's I'm knee deep in managing the membership piece of this and driving the business, man. And really, it's just a focus thing. If you need any support, guidance, anything after this call, definitely reach out. We support a lot of our preferred partners. You may not even know that you get this, but with live workshops, because we know that most of this stuff is, man, we gotta get kinesthetic with it. We gotta get hands-on with it to sharpen these skills up and invest in our team. And that's service that we provide, kind of a concierge service, so to speak. And then we do a lot of different workshops around the country for mentorships to really bring these skills to life, because we know that's how our team learns best. And it's just so important to take the online and the audio version of the learner, but also being able to take this into application. So again, just some resources there that I want to make sure that everyone on the call knows, how we can best support you and help you better retain your trainers and your clients. So with that, I want to kick it over to Karen, who's going to touch on Performance Suite a little bit. Then we're going to open it up for a little bit of Q&A and a little bit of education giveaway. You see what I did there? Over to you, Karen.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to say, with regards to the mentorship, if you haven't done mentorship before, it's an amazing, live, hands-on, great time. I mean, you just learn so much. All the information that Israel was just going over, you get to experience live, and it just really puts everything into play. So with regard to Performance Suite, the Performance Suite is going to help with recruiting. It's going to help with onboarding. So for all of you health club owner operators, you could actually be out and about and meet somebody that you'd like to hire, and maybe you would just ask. You can tell they work out. Are you certified, or have you ever been a trainer? And they haven't been, but they wouldn't be able to because they don't have $1,000 to go get certified. So in the Performance Suite, you do get the ability to get PTA Global at a greatly reduced price, and you can actually give that person a username and a password. They're not even working for you, and tell them to go home and get certified. And maybe they need to go through the CPR and AED or sexual harassment prevention that's also provided. And just say, once you've done this, come back, we'd love to hire you. We also open up all the continuing education. So in the Performance Suite, every single CEC, there's about 85 of them, does get unlocked. So that means not only your personal trainers, but your Group X who need to get about 20 hours of CECs to renew the Group X certifications and their personal training certifications. Now it's free. And when we talk about staff retention, what I mean by that is so many health clubs have trainers that have expired certifications or Group X that have expired certifications, but they keep them on board because they're really, really good trainers. Or you have the trainers or the Group X that quit because they don't have the money to get recertified. So all around, like I say, it does help with retaining your clients and giving them a wealth of education. The screen that you're looking at right now is just a sample of what you get in the Performance Suite. If there's tiles that you don't want, we can remove them. If you have your own in-house education. We can customize tiles. There's no charge to do that. Maybe it's an employee manual, a particular certification that you have, but we will go ahead and we do become your own LMS. So it's awesome. We have sales training. We have customer service training. We have sexual harassment prevention. It's all free. The CPR and AED. We've got ways to attract more clients. There's, like I say, the PTA Global. There is Group X certification. There's just a wealth of education that we do have available for you. And Israel, you want to go to the next? This is just a by department education plan, so it does show you that with Performance Suite, it's not just for the trainers, it's really for everybody. So from the front desk to your membership sales, to the personal trainers, to your Group X department, your maintenance department, your child care, gardeners, anybody. I mean, I always say anybody that's using Performance Suite, in my ideal world, I would like to see every single person that works for you having a username and a password. The system will also track all certifications, and that is just an administrative nightmare for clubs to do. So whether it's a safety certification or personal training or Group X, the employees actually input their certifications and the date that they expire, and then our system will actually notify the trainer and their manager that their certification is about to expire. It'll do it at 6 months, it'll do it at 3 months, and again at 1 month if you choose. And it's just a great way for you to say, Israel, your PTA Global is going to expire in 6 months. Make sure you get on to the Performance Suite and get your CECs. If I see that again at 3 months, I can remind Israel again. And bottom line with what I'm talking about right now is that there's no reason whatsoever that any Group X or personal trainer should ever expire, because in the Performance Suite it is free. So again, it's going to help with staff retention. And so everybody also does get a free membership to PT on the Net, the entire staff. So the PT on the Net is the world's largest exercise library and resource center. We've got over 5,000 articles, over 2,500 videos. It's mobile friendly, it's tablet friendly. This is a huge tool with the Performance Suite and for trainers as well, because you've got trainers that have clients, maybe they're training, maybe they bought 10 sessions and they're training once or twice a week. It's going to be kind of difficult for that client to reach their goals with just 10 sessions, but the trainer has the ability to go into PT on the Net and create a workout, email it to their client, and say on the off days, here's a workout that I'd like you to do. So now they've got a couple workouts to do on their own. They're training with their trainer a couple days a week, and now there's a really, really good chance that they'll get much closer to their goals, and they're going to sign up for more training. So if my contact information will be at the last slide. If you'd like a virtual tour of the Performance Suite, I'm more than happy to take you on that. So you'll have my email and my phone number. You can contact me. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. Israel, thank you for your amazing presentation on PTA Global.
Yeah, thanks so much, Karen. Again, this is all about, for everyone on the call, man, how do I keep my trainers more engaged and keep them in the game? And how do I help my clients to get results, so that they want to refer other members, refer other clients to our program, get great results so that everybody wins, right? And so, hopefully there's been some very tangible things that you've come out of this, that you wrote down, whether it was the Kaizen 6 form that you could immediately print out and use with your team, whether it was some of the little practical tips that we kind of talked about, some of the systems, and platforms out there like Trainerize. Whatever your takeaways were, it may be a little bit different for everybody. It depends on your model, depends on kind of where you're at in the business. But what I want to do is I want to just open it up for just a couple minutes of any questions that might be out there. So if you want to go ahead and just type in the little question board, I'll try to answer those the best that I can. And then basically we'll open it up for a couple of free education giveaways. Let's see here. All right, so it doesn't look like maybe there's any questions at this point, at least from what I'm seeing, which is totally fine. If you're anything like me, you may, say, you know what, I need to submit those questions after. I need to kind of think about that a little bit, which is totally fine. One of the things that, I know for us is really important is we want to basically just be a resource for you. So there is one here. So how long do you recommend people take to sit for the certification? So Allison, great question. And hello, Allison. Hope you are well. So it really depends on the skill set, Allison, of that individual. And Allison, so she was kind of the first in line here to ask the question. We got Gerard as well. Okay, so these are just coming in at random, so that's okay. So yeah, usually a 3-month window is kind of a good space. They've got 6 months to take it before they need to actually, that 6-month window is actually where they need to take it and take the exam. 3 months tends to be pretty much like a good grace period where someone could actually work full time and still take it. But I've seen people do it in less than 2 weeks. So we've got an outline. If you'd like that, Allison, if you can email me, I'm happy to send you the outline that actually spaces exactly what topics to cover when, and it kind of spaces that out for 10 weeks. And so I'm more than happy to share that with you if you'd like. I've been advising people to purchase the foundations first, then exam. Correct. Yeah, that's totally fine. Either foundations or BCE are great bridging to basically scoot over to the CPT, because both of those are going to be precursors to the CPT, especially if you already have some that may be ACE certified or NASM certified, Allison. Both of those are going to be good to kind of bridge over to the CPT. Let me find, hopefully that answers your question, Allison. All right, so let's see who else here. So Danielle, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Danielle. How many credits, oh gosh, this is coming in fast. How many credits do you get for the BCE or other certs, and are they honored by NASM and others? So short answer is yes, they're honored. I'm assuming that is the online, and it is 20 CECs for that you're talking about. So for many organizations, that's enough to basically recert. So that's cool. And let me get maybe 1 or 2 other ones here. Okay, trainer can enter their own expiration dates, and the manager doesn't have to. Oh, so that's more of a Karen question. So let's come back to that one, Jacob. Where do we access a self-assessment questionnaire? So it is as an attachment on the link. And I apologize if I'm not pronouncing this, but Genaro Mercado, hopefully. And so that is where we access this. You could also email me, like if you're having trouble with the GoToWebinar, no worries. If you can email me, it'll be at the end of this slide. I'll have my email address, and I'm happy to shoot this to you for the self-assessment questionnaire. What is the cost associated with Performance Suite tool? Let's talk about that offline, Jacob. If you can send Karen a note, Jacob, then she can kind of find out specific pricing for you, because that's going to vary depending on locations and offerings. What's the best platform to educate and then train front desk? Performance Suite has some amazing content and how to do that. And it just says VP of Fitness. I'm not exactly sure what the name is here, but I'll tell you, front desk, as you know, I'm just going to call you VP of Fitness. I'm sorry. The front desk, as you know, VP of Fitness is absolutely important, because that's the highs and buys, right? It's the first impression of the club. And so you get them trained up right, then everything else kind of, hopefully is falling into place. And then let me take maybe one more here. I'm interested in the Performance Suite pricing as well. So Jeff Powell, make sure that you reach out to Karen. I'm going to have her information since you're interested in Performance Suite pricing. And then, do you keep the trainer inspired without motivating them by money? Oh, I love this one. So I apologize if I don't answer this correctly. Tayon, if I don't say this correctly, Tayon Morris. How do you keep the trainer inspired or motivated without motivating them by money? So there is a great book called Drive by Daniel Pink, and he talked about short-term and long-term motivation, how money, like if you give a 5-year-old $1, $1 is like nothing when they turn 10, right? And it doesn't matter if they're 5 or 10 or whatever, the dollar like loses luster the next time they want something. Well, last time you only gave me a dollar, maybe I should get $1.50 because the work is harder, right? So they're always wanting more with money. So it's actually very temporary and actually can be a reverse motivation for them. So how do you keep them motivated is, well, first of all, you got to figure out what they want. Outside of money, what are they actually trying to accomplish? And that's kind of their why. And then what are they good at? How can you get them to be more confident and kind of achieve, for lack of a better term, kind of mastery in that, so that you're keeping them very purpose-driven. Compensation is important, right? Because I can be purpose-driven, but if I can't pay bills, then that's challenging. But if you have a good comp plan and you're able to find these ways to keep people engaged and use their God-given talents and skill sets, Tayon, that tends to be pretty effective as a 1-2 combo. And then education. Again, education is so important, especially for trainers. So Tayon, whether you're a trainer or whether you're an owner and operator that has trainers, again, there is nothing better than just putting some wind in your sails, because it does help you feel more confident. It'll help you to kind of live out what you want to do as a personal trainer, which is kind of like, it's fulfilling what you thought you were going to do when you got into the industry, right? And that's powerful, man, to be able to live that out. So any of our education is going to help kind of fill that bucket. But yeah, I'd say education is pretty important. And then you got to have the why-based conversation with those trainers. So here's what I'd like to do before we close out is several people kind of had their hand up. So what I would like is for Allison, if you can email me, and I'm going to assign your choice of either our BCE course, our Mindset Performance Credential, or our Exercise and Stress Management to you. Just email me after this. I want to make sure I have the right Allison Smith here to add it to your account. So I'm going to choose 2 more here. Jeff Powell, you had some great feedback, buddy. So Jeff, same thing. Email me at the slide, the very last slide here today, and then I'll assign your choice of either our BCE, our Mindset Performance Credential, or our Exercise and Stress Management. I'll assign those to your account free of charge. And then, you know what? It's Friday. We're going into Easter. I'm feeling a little generous. I'm gonna go 2 more here. Danielle, same thing. Email me. And I love that you asked the question around BCE, which may be why you're inquiring. But again, your choice of BCE, ESM, or Mindset Performance Credential, and then Tayon Morris, our last one. We're going to be able to give away. Tayon, email me either one of those 3 that you would like to receive. Team, I hope this has been, valuable for you. I hope you've taken away a few nuggets. Always appreciate your time. I love this quote. What if we train them and they leave? What if we don't and they stay? Right? An investment in our employees absolutely will show fruit in how they onboard their clients, how they treat their clients, what they teach for their clients. How we train our team is how they'll train their clients, and we know that's going to impact results, retention, and referrals. So with that, I want to thank you as always for your time. I want to thank you for your commitment to this industry and saving and changing lives through fitness. Our information is right here, so feel free, Israel@ptaglobal.com. Email me with whatever you need. And then the lovely Karen Perlmutter, Karen@ptonthenet.com. Definitely email her for any questions on Performance Suite, and just let us know how we can best help you. So with that, team, enjoy your Friday. Happy Easter, and we will see you
everyone.
next time. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.